And you may begin. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, and welcome to the presentation on how to respond to requests for proposals, sponsored by the Department of Procurement Services. Today is Wednesday, August 25th, 2021. Uh, I'm going through the basics of what it would take to respond to an RFP, which is one of the forms of solicitation that the city uses in order to contract different vendors to provide services. Okay, first of all, I'm going over the tips for finding bid opportunities. Bids that are valued over $100,000, RFPs, are publicly advertised in Chicago Sun-Times. I think Jack, he mentioned that to you guys. Bids and RFPs are posted weekly. Okay, so you can view and download it on the City of Chicago Public Procurement website, which is www.chicago.gov/bids. Okay, and it also gives you the link for the RFP file if you want to speak about if you know. The City of Chicago buying plan, okay, which Jack also mentioned, is also available on our website, which you can, you should access. So you can see Chicago's plan for buying services and products from different companies with this in the following 18 months. One way to get to do business with the city, which I think may be the best way, or the most easiest way, is to attend the pre-bid conferences. Every RFP, the most bids, and the pre-bid conference. What happens there? Usually, vendors who are interested in buying or submitting a bid or a proposal attend the conferences, okay, and you can network with other vendors that have the same interests you have or the same business that you have. Okay, so it's a great way to network with people in the industry, in your field of expertise, by attending the pre-bid conference. Right? So, having said that, let's move on. What is a request for proposal? Request for proposal is the method of procurement to hire professional services consultant to implement a new project in various professional service disciplines. It is project specific, which means that the request for proposal for each individual project. Okay, and it's used when the city does not have an in-house technical experts or resources to implement a project or provide services. Okay. A request for proposal can be used, is used, as this says, for professional services, which means if the city needs to, I don't know, contract accountants from audit, okay, and RFP will be the method to do that. If the city wants to contract attorneys to a specific project, an RFP will be the way to do that. If the city want to contract specific computer services, an RFP might be the best method to do that. So the RFP, the request for proposal, is the method that the city will use to hire professional service consultant. A competitive bid is different than a request for proposal. Competitive bid is used to, it's a method of procurement to purchase supplies, equipment, maintenance, or repair services and construction. Okay. A competitive bid usually has a detailed bid specification. Okay. And the structures are project specific with specific quantities, one time, or blanket, which is for indefinite quantity of usage, for with the services. A proposal page line item includes defined units of measures and specific estimated quantities. Okay. If the city want to purchase supplies, equipment, okay, they will use the bid process, not the RFP, because the equipment and supplies will tend to be specific. We have a specific price, a specific amount, so that can be procured through a bid process. Okay, so proposal RFP usually for professional services. The bid usually to purchase supplies, equipment, maintenance, or repair services. The bid specification will detail every aspect of the product or service. An RFP defines project objectives and scope of service parameters, but does not specify in detail every aspect of how to accomplish or perform the required service. The city seeks proposals from qualified vendors detailing their proposed plan to implement and complete the project. Okay, when the city publishes an RFP, okay, it will tell you, what the city wants to purchase. If it won't tell you the specific detail, you, the vendor, will provide a proposal to the city saying, yes, I'm a vendor, I can provide the services, and this is all I'm going to do. Okay, so an RFP entails detailed evaluation proposal by an evaluation committee based on evaluation criteria published in the RFP. The EC is comprised of various stakeholders of the department. Okay, so when the city receives your proposal to this RFP, okay, they will evaluate your proposal. We will rank your proposal. We will compare it with other proposals, and if you are the best proposal submitted, then you might be granted a contract. Okay, so the city again does not tell you how to do the job. It will tell you what it needs. The city has a need, a new vendor would submit a proposal to an RFP process to meet that city needs. Okay. In contrast, for a competitive bid contract award is to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, meeting city specification based on department review of bid tabulation and recommendation of award. Instead of an RFP, if the solicitation is for a bid, okay, the city would choose the vendor who has the lowest responsible and responsible bidder, meaning usually the lowest cost. Okay. You have to provide the bid that the city needs, the service, or the maintenance or the repair at the best price to be selected for bid. An RFP is not necessarily the best price vendor selected. An RFP, the best quality, price, and other factors go into an RFP selection. For a bid, it's usually the lowest responsive and responsible bid. Okay, for an RFP, vendor selection is to the highest rated or ranked respondent to the RFP, not lowest price. So if you submit a proposal to an RFP, price can always be negotiated. Okay, for an RFP, price can always be negotiated. For a bid, the city will get the lowest responsive bid, I'm sorry. Okay, responsive bid. The city is transitioning, has been transitioning to an electronic format. We no longer accept proposal submitted, paper proposals. So your city will accept your proposal via what we call eProcurement. Okay, these are the criteria for eProcurement submitted proposals. Proposals must be word searchable. Okay, sectional proposal should be organized in subject matter sequence in the required content of proposal section of the RFP. Each page of your proposal should be numbered in a manner to be uniquely identified. Proposals must be clear, concise, and well organized. And also a redacted proposal must be submitted. Those are basic self-explanatory. What do you need to submit a proposal? I want to speak about the redacted proposal. Okay. When you submit your proposal to the city in response to an RFP, your proposal is foilable, okay? Meaning outside organization may ask to see your proposals. And what we want you to also submit a redacted proposal, because at times, sometimes vendors, when they submit proposal, they include personal information of their employees or their subcontractors, which means if you have someone's resume that has their address, their phone number, something social in the resume, you want that redacted. Okay, that's what redacted proposal means. Any proprietary information that you have, you also want that redacted. So basically, you be submitting a proposal to the city, and you're supposed to submit two proposals, right? You respond to an RFP, submit a general proposal with all the information that we need, and then you submit the same proposal in a redacted format, which means you cross out or redact the information that is sensitive, people's addresses, telephone numbers, social security, or any personal information okay, that might be that contain that proposal, you must redact. Okay, that's what a redacted proposal means. You take out the sensitive information that no one else needs to see, but you, your organization, is submitting to receive. Okay, that's what a redacted proposal is. It is very important because we don't want the proposal with personal information included in it that anyone can see. So it's very important to submit a redacted proposal when you're responding to an RFP. And now we're going to the RFP proposal content. This list is also included in the RFP, the request for proposal. When you're submitting your proposal, these items must be included. Let's go over. First, a cover letter. Just introduce yourself. Say, I'm a vendor XYZ. Okay, I've been in business 5-6 years. I'm certified to do business in this particular area. Okay, this is my name, my address to contact me, the contact person of my company. So general information you provide in the cover letter. Okay. The executive summary is just a summary of the executive ideas, goals of the company, which means basically what your executives do and the reason. That's what you call it, the reason why you believe your proposal should be accepted by the city. The next item, professional qualifications and specialized experience of the respondent and team members. Okay, the city would like to know the professional qualifications and experience of your vendors, your company that are responding to this RFP. In other words, the people that will be working for in this particular project must be qualified and have specific experience, okay, of team members. That's the number 4 here, where it says professional qualification and special experience of key personnel. This one is not just your team members, but just the key personnel who will be working on the specific project you're applying for. Okay. The first one is the team members of people that work in your organization that have experience and qualified to work on this project. The second one is the specific key people that are going to be working on the project. Okay. We have to understand that difference here. We want to know about the team members, the organization in general. And then we also want to know about specific personnel who will be working on the particular project, which is the key personnel. Next, we'd also like to know implementation or work plan. And how are you going to do this? Okay, we put out an RFP, we did XYZ. You propose to us, I can do XYZ. Now you have to come and explain to us how you're going to do XYZ to provide for the city's needs. Okay, a cost proposal. Usually, the RFP will have a format for the cost proposal. It might be monthly, it might be quarterly, it might be annually, but the format for the cost proposal must be adhered to because it's used for comparison purposes. Okay. Next is MBE, WBE, or DBE plan. Okay. MBE is minority business enterprises. WBE is women's business enterprises, or DBE are disabled people business enterprise plan. Okay, most of our RFP require a certain percentage of the total amount of the contract when awarded to be allocated for MBE, WBE, or DBE vendors. So your subcontractors, okay, might have to be MBE, WBE, or DBE, but the particular RFP that you propose that you're responding to will tell you what percentage of the total cost must be allocated to this category. Financial statement. It says audited last 3 years or equivalent. What does that mean? The city wants to know that you are that you're not in bankruptcy or that you have been in financial difficulties. In other words, the city must assess that your company is able to provide the services that we need, okay, that the city will need without financial stress. Okay, we ask for 3 years of financial statements, and the city does not specify what type of financial statements. This is audited. Some new companies, new vendors might not have 3 years of financial statements. So the city will take alternate formats, okay? And then that will be decided at the specific RFP and response, okay? The city understand that not everyone has audited 3 years, but that's what we ask for equivalent. It's something that can tell the reviewer or the evaluators that yes, this vendor is capable, is financially stable to provide services that the city needs. We also need an online economic disclosure statement, which is an EDS. What is that? An EDS is a form that will tell the city, the ownership structure of the company. Okay, so who owns the company and what percentage, and everyone who owns more than 7.5%, I think, ownership interest of the company must provide an EDS. Okay, the EDS tell the city what is the ownership structure of your company. Legal actions. Last 5 years. When you're applying, responding to an RFP, you must state, if there have been any legal actions against your company within the last 5 years. That's not a disqualifier, but the city would like to know whether or not your company has been involved in litigation within the last 5 years prior to submitting the proposal. Insurance. Every RFP requires the risk department to assess the risk to the city, and that will be provided in the insurance requirement. The thing is that at the time that you submit a proposal, you're not required to have that insurance, but you must state to the city that you're willing and able to get the threshold, the dollar threshold that the insurance requirement for this particular RFP. Again, every RFP of insurance requirement, it might require you to have $100,000 coverage for automobile, maybe $500,000 coverage for workers' liability. The RFP would tell you in the RFP state what the threshold requirements are for the insurance, but you're not required to have that insurance in place when you submit your proposal. If you are awarded a contract, you will have to have the insurance by the time the contract award starts, by the time the contract starts. Not required to submit proof of insurance at the time of the proposal. You just have to state that you're willing and able to obtain the levels of insurance that the specific RFP will require you to. Once you submit your RFP, your proposal, your response to the RFP, the proposal will go to an evaluation process, which means evaluators, we call stakeholders, usually experts on this field, and usually come from different city departments, will be looking at your proposal and evaluate it. What are the areas they're going to look for? The most common ones are professional qualifications. The reviewer, the evaluator, is going to look at your proposal and look at the resumes and look at the experience of the team of people that are going to do work on this particular contract. They will look at current and past performance records. They will check references. Can I go back to this? Most RFP requires you to provide 3 references. References on this particular field that you're applying for. You have to provide those. That's the requirement. 1 reference or 2 references? No. The RFP will say minimum 2 references. You have to provide this minimum 2 references. And the evaluators will check those references. So that's important to know. Certification and/or licenses. If the service that you provide, that you're willing to provide to the city, say accounting services, auditing services, which might require you to have CPAs, which are licensed, you must have those. Otherwise, you won't be qualified to provide the service. 2, we spoke about this already, which is the availability of key personnel, not just your team, your organization as a whole, but the key people that are going to be working on the particular project. Okay, we look at the resume. We'll ask you for an organization chart. We'll ask you for dedicated resources. Let's go over the dedicated resources, which means if you have a project manager allocated to the particular services that you're applying for, and your project manager has 5 or 6 or 7 other projects it's working on, we find the project manager might not be able to dedicate his or her time to the particular project. So that's what we like to know, the dedicated resources or the people, key personnel who's going to be working on the particular project that you're responding to. The evaluation committee will also look at your implementation or your work plan. Okay, when you tell us this is how we're going to do this, okay, we like to look at that. The EC evaluation committee will look at that. They will look at your cost proposal. Okay, again, on RFP, the lowest cost is not the most desirable, doesn't have to be the most desirable proposal. Okay, your cost must be competitive, right? But then your quality of your proposal is looked at also. The cost and on RFP response is not the main criteria that the EC will look. It is important, but it's not the main criteria. Then we'll also look at MBEWB commitment. As a general rule, 25% for MBE or 5% for WBE participation or goals for RFPs. That's in general. It could be more, it could be less, but as a general rule, 25% minority business and 5% women business. DBE might apply, which is disabled business enterprises, if the project that you're applying for is federally funded. Again, the RFP will tell you specifically what percentage of your total contract dollars will be spent on this particular goals. Financial statements we spoke about. The EC again will look at your financial statements, which is like 3 years of some sort of financial documents that will tell the city your financial status as an organization. The RFP response must also state that you're going to comply, your company, your firm will comply with all laws, ordinances, and statutes. Okay, you cannot take exception to the city laws, ordinances, and statutes if you're responding to an RFP. Okay. Also, the EDS certifications, which are the ownership structure of the organization, is going to be looked at by the evaluation committee. And we look at the legal action, whether legal actions have been taken against you in the last 5 years. Again, this does not disqualify you for buy, but the city must know or needs to know what type of risks they have when your organization has been or is involved in legal proceedings and you're trying to procure a contract. And also conflict of interest, whether your relatives, spouse, family members work for or the city organization or anyone else that will be involved in evaluating your proposals. Okay, those are the key items that the evaluation criteria is going to look at once they receive your proposal. Okay. Tips for preparing our proposal. This is simple, guys, but this is so important. You have to read the entire document. Okay. Many times vendors look at the aspect that they're interested in, like the scope of work only or the financial requirements only, and they don't look at the entire proposal. There's a reason why the entire proposal is submitted. Is the entire RFP is there. So you have to read the entire document. You have to follow proposal format, content instructions. No shortcuts. Don't assume that the city knows your firm. Okay. In other words, the RFP will tell you the order that you must submit your proposal. Okay. Cover letter first. Summary, executive summary second. Okay. Scope of service third. Okay, that would give you, the RFP will make it very easy. It will give you the order in which you must submit your proposal. stick to that order. Okay, otherwise, it will be the evaluators will go back and forth trying to find the specific documents. Okay, short term, put a table of contents. Okay, put a table of contents in your proposal. Okay, page 1, cover letter. Page 2, paperwork. Page 3, cost proposal. Okay, make it an orderly format so the evaluation committee member can follow your format. If you have any questions about the RFP, you must submit a question in writing. Okay. In other words, the RFP is published. You have it, you read it, you're confused, you don't understand some issue. You cannot pick up the phone and just call the person whose name appears in the RFP. You have to send your question in writing. Okay. Why is that? Because the responses to your questions will usually be provided in an addendum. Okay. The same question you have, someone else might have. And the city wants to ensure that everyone has the same answer. Okay. You have a question about the RFP document, you have to submit it in writing to DPS, which is the Department of Procurement Services. Your response to RFP submittal requirements. You have to submit all required information documents. The RFP says that you must submit 2 references. You must submit 2 references. The RFP says that you must provide your cost proposal in a format. You must provide your cost proposal in a specific format. It's not the time to be creative because the RFP preparers still gone through a lot of trouble, to a lot of to give you specific instructions, okay, how to prepare this. So be responsive to the RFP requirements as stated on the document. Okay. Again, submit cost proposal in format provided for equitable comparison. If the cost proposal page says you want to see your quarterly cost proposal, submit it quarterly. If you want to say annually for the next 3 years, and it's option year, submit what is required. Submit the proposal as it is required by the RFP. Be a responsible vendor. Okay. Verify your company has the ability and the capacity to perform. Your proposal meets each specific requirement. Okay. Now, it's happened very often that proposals out there, you're a vendor, you think you can do that. Okay. But you don't have the capacity to do it. Let's go back to what I said a moment before. You can always, okay, network with other vendors. Okay, you can submit a joint proposal. You can be a subcontractor under another vendor, or you can be the prime and another vendor can come in as a subcontractor. No, you can link up with other vendors so you can have the capacity to perform the services. Okay, don't despair if you cannot do all the services. You can always have subcontractors that can do the services that are requested. So be a responsible vendor means that you have the ability and the capacity. It doesn't have to be you alone, but you and your subcontractors, okay, may have a joint. You can have a joint venture, okay, in order to apply for the services that the RFP is required. Okay. If a mandatory requirement, avoid taking a sectional requirement. Will result in a proposal rejection. Again, this goes back to the earlier point. In order, if the city has specific requirements, specific rules, specific regulations, specific laws, you have to abide by them. Otherwise, you won't be awarded a contract. Okay. So if there's specific requirements, the RFP says that you must have 25% MBE, you must abide by that. That's why it's there for a purpose. Okay. So know that in fact. Okay. Okay. Exhibit forms must be completed as part of the proposal submission. Okay. And will vary depending on the RFP. Okay. These are the 5 standard exhibits that the most RFP required. Okay. Your company profile information. We want to know the name, location. So that's a form, an exhibit form that's in the RFP. Your references. I've spoken about reference about 3 or 4 times already. You have to submit your references. On RFP, minimum 3. Okay. MDWBE or DBE compliance plan. Spoke about, or a waiver. You may apply for a waiver for those requirements, but that's another session in certification. Okay, but usually requirements that are listed in RFP, you must abide by. Okay, EDS. Okay, the EDS again is where we look at the ownership structure of your organization. Okay, any retained party that you may have. Again, give us a picture of who who your organization is and who are the financial interests, the ownership interests in your organization. And then insurance certificate is there. Again, like I mentioned before, you're not required to have insurance for the services that you proposing for at time you submit the proposal. You're required to have insurance threshold if you are awarded a contract. Time of award, you'll be required to have insurance as per the RFP. You also have to review the city standard contract terms and conditions, okay, which is attached as an RFP exhibit to determine if your firm can perform under those terms and conditions. What is that? The city has standard terms and conditions, the standard contract, okay, standard agreement. If you're awarded a contract on the RFP, there's some standard city agreements, standard city terms and conditions that must be adhered to. So you must make sure you review that. Okay, you review those terms and conditions to make sure that your firm can perform under those terms and conditions. Okay, very important. Okay. Also, when you submit your proposal, you must verify the existence of any addendum issued by the city before submitting the proposal. In your response, your proposal, okay, to the RFP must say addendum 1, addendum 3, addendum 4. Okay, if the city has published other addendums, you must verify. You must tell us that you have received or you have seen the addendum, because they will be posted. Okay, after an RFP, there might be some changes. There will be an addendum. Sometimes vendors have a number of questions that are integral to the RFP services. Those questions will also be an addendum. Any changes on the document once it's published will be addressed to an addendum. But you must acknowledge that you have seen the addendum to any RFP in your proposal submission. I spoke about eProcurement. I mentioned eProcurement submission. The city is transitioning from paper proposal to online submission of RFP and RFQs. RFQs are requests for quotation. Okay. Vendors must register in iSupply to submit electronic submissions through eProcurement. Okay. Proposal cannot be submitted via eProcurement after the published due date. Okay. iSupply is the city's procurement computer system for electronic bidding and providing contractors with access to contract, ordering payment information to receive contract. Okay, and allow 2 business days to complete registration. So, in order for you to respond to an RFP or an RFQ, you must do so through the iSupply, which is the city's procurement system. Okay, and you should allow a minimum of 3 days to complete the registration through the iSupply. You can be in the city system. So, if the proposal proposal have a due date on say September 1st, you should be in iSupply registering your company at least 3 business days, no weekends, no holidays, before that September 1st date. So that would be August 27, I think, 31 days in August, at the minimum. 3 business days to complete your registration. So if you submit a proposal responding to an RFP, you have to do it to eProcurement, because the city do not accept paper proposal. Okay, so you have to go to iSupplier, register, and then you'll be able to submit your proposal via electronic. Okay. Pay attention to the RFP instructions for proposal submission requirements. Cover letter, as we mentioned before, must be signed by an authorized officer that acknowledge any addendum issued. When we talk about cover letters before, it cannot be signed by anyone. Just someone that works in your company just sign the cover letter. The cover letter that's required must be signed by an authorized officer, preferably the head president or the CEO of your organization. The cover letter and saying that, when you're submitting the proposal, okay, must be signed by an authorized officer, okay. You should make a checklist of all submittal requirements for proposal required. Content section to verify completeness of proposal before submitting to the PO. Yeah, just go over the document before you submit it. See if you're missing anything. It's terrible for you to lose the opportunity to apply to compete for an RFP because you just missed a document. You forgot to attach the cover letter. You forgot something. Just make sure you go over the requirements before you submit your proposal. Okay, eProcurement RFP document can usually be viewed at that link. That's there. Okay. More importantly, to register your supplier, second link. Okay. Don't forget, it takes at least 3 days for registration. So you don't wait a day before or 2 days before you have to submit a proposal due date before you go on supply. You can do that at any time. Do that as often as possible. Actually, you can do that before you have to submit a proposal. You can just go register and supply. Okay. Addendum to any RFPs, there you get them. Pre-proposal conference attendees. The city publishes everyone, the information of everyone who attends a pre-proposal conference. They will have the person name, they will have the vendor's firm, okay, name, they will have usually an email address. Why is that done? That is to facilitate you networking with other vendors that provide services. Again, okay, we look favorably, the city looks favorably upon joint ventures and upon vendors, prime vendors who subcontract mostly MPE, WPE, DPE vendors, okay, because those are usually requirements in our RFPs, okay. The pre-proposal conference attendees list is published, it's posted on the city website, okay. Same thing with take our list, which is the vendors who have downloaded the city's the whatever RFP that's out there. The eProcurement workshop schedules, such as this one, are also published online. There's the link, and the eProcurement instructional document for the specific instructions in eProcurement that are also online at the link provided. Responding to the RFP are posted on website. No other information or proposal or evaluation is available until after the contract award process is completed. In other words, when the RFP is published, everyone who submits a proposal is available online. You can see who else responded to the RFP that you're applying for. Okay, that's available online. But no additional information is available until after the contract award. That can be months after the actual RFP was published. Okay. All Freedom of Information Act, FOIA requests received are held until after contract award. Okay. In other words, for you to find out anything specific about the RFP or proposal submitted, you probably cannot obtain that information via the Freedom of Information Act until after the contract has been awarded. The briefing meeting can be requested in writing to the CPO. The briefing meeting is usually for vendors who did not do well or did not get awarded a contract on the specific RFP. They just want to go over the proposal to see what they did wrong, what they can be improved on, and those can be requested in writing to the Chief Procurement Officer of the Department of Procurement Services. Okay. The Evaluation Committee evaluates proposal in 2 phases. So when you submit your proposal to an RFP, you'll go through 3 phases of the evaluation process. Phase 1, which is the preliminary proposal assessment. It's a checklist. okay, the evaluator will look at your proposal and to make sure that you, okay, comply with every single item on the RFP. There will be a list, okay, of what information should be provided. Did they provide? Did they acknowledge the addendum? Yes or no? Did they provide a cover letter? Yes or no? Did they provide a cost proposal? Yes or no? Okay, it's a list, it's a checklist. Okay, evaluation phase 1 is a checklist. Evaluation phase 2 is where actually the evaluator would actually read your proposal and score them. Okay, score is on score maybe 1 to 10 or 10 to 100, depending on the RFP. So the evaluators will actually read the proposal and give a score to each segment of the proposal. Not only that, the evaluators also provide comments with their scores. They say what was good about a particular segment, what was bad, what can be improved, whether or not it meets the requirements. Okay, proposal evaluation. Okay, phase 2, when the proposal is read, scored, and comments are entered by the evaluator. After the proposal is evaluated, okay, then there's phase 2, phase 3 involve either site visit, demonstration, or oral presentation, okay, if necessary. Okay, so the evaluation committee, after the goal of the proposal is scoring, it might be 2 or 3 vendors that make it from the stage. Okay, they might want to schedule those vendors to come in for oral presentations. They also have oral presentation virtually. Okay, so yeah, they might want to hear more from these 3 vendors, the 3 top scoring vendors, to differentiate between them. Okay, they might ask questions at the presentation, or they might send questions to the vendors before presentation, clarification questions. The evaluation committee might want to hear more about what a segment, a particular item explained in detail. Okay, all that can happen, right? At phase 3. Okay. Vendor selection and declaration letters sent to proposers as applicable. City is not obligated to select any vendor. Okay. Because the city has published an RFP requesting services, okay, and the vendors submit proposals, okay, and we've gone through the evaluation process, does not mean that the city would choose any vendor. The city has the option to say, okay, we don't want the services, or we're not happy with the vendor pool that's there, or need of change. Okay, so there's no guarantee that the city is going to choose a vendor based on these RFP and proposal submitted. Okay, it's important to understand that point. Now, contract award is contingent on successful negotiation of terms and pricing. The city is not obligated to award a contract, and RFP may allow multiple awards by service category of separate projects. What does this mean? It means even after the city sends you a letter saying, okay, your vendor has been selected, okay, to provide the services for the city. Still, the city will be negotiating the terms and pricing. Don't forget, remember that the RFP is not decided, the vendor is not selected in response to the RFP by pricing alone. The city might like your proposal, but say, well, maybe it can come down to price. Okay. So the city reserves the right to negotiate pricing and terms after they've awarded you a contract. After you receive a letter saying, okay, you the vendor will select. The city also may select multiple awards, okay, depending on service category. Okay, so that can happen. Okay, a lot of information, guys. Teams information, but I hope we clarify a little bit the process of responding to an RFP. Okay, now we are open for questions. Any questions that you guys may have, I will try to do my best to answer them, or provide you answers at a later date. We are right.
As we see currently, Milton, there are no questions, but I'm going to give the attendees a few minutes to write those questions out just in case they have. I'd like to thank you, though, for imparting that great information off to us and doing a wonderful job. It is a whole lot of information, but we hope that you are able to take advantage of this information. And if you need to go back and look at it and, take a few minutes to let it soak in, as they say, you can do so. Rodney has sent the links for the where you can find the PowerPoints. Also, on Friday, we will post this and other workshops from the week. We post them on Friday, so you can get that information or see this recording again at www.youtube.com /Chicago DPS. And again, if you would, in the search bar, make sure that you put the title of the workshop you'd like to see. I greatly appreciate that. So if you have a question, feel free to use the Q&A panel at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. If you do not see Q&A, click on the three dots. A menu will come up and you can click on Q&A there. Type in your question and then press the enter key. I'd like to also thank the attendees for attending today's workshop. We always hope that you get great information and information that you can use. If you know someone else who can take advantage of this great information, feel free to share where they can go and get the information so that they are aware as well. And Milton, did you want to say anything else before I close out?
No, guys. Again, we're very open. Always, you can always send in your questions in writing to DPS, and we do our best to answer it. So we have to keep that in mind. If you have a question now, your question later, next week, just submit your question and we try to respond to it. And then thank you for putting up and your attention this afternoon.
Great. Yes, thank you for spending a little time with us. We look forward to seeing you at another workshop soon. Stay safe, stay well, wash your hands, social distance, wear your mask, and get vaccinated so that we can all be in the same place at one time. Thanks so much for joining us. And if Rodney, you don't have any questions, we'll go ahead and sign out and say have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks so much, Milton.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Take care.
All righty. Bye-bye.